if you fail in an exam, especially promotional exams, either you'll be repeated or withdrawn. But today, all these decisions and policies have been taken out to the extent that when a student fails to even write exams, the person is promoted. So obviously, the student will not be motivated or encouraged to even learn at all. As we speak now, they have said that even if a student is pregnant, the person should be allowed to school, and we should create an enabling environment for the student to stay there. Though it's good to the extent that it will help the student to continue his or her education, and for that matter, pregnancy should not stop a student from pursuing his or her education. But the point is that a teacher goes to class, she's pregnant. A student also goes to class, she's pregnant. The student can be allowed to go out of the class to breastfeed the kid. Though, but the teacher is not allowed to do that while teaching. And so if you have such kind of decisions taken, the student feels that there is absolutely nothing that a teacher can do to him or her. Then let me come to issues of corporal punishment. As we speak now, as a teacher, I will say that no one takes delight in punishing students anyhow. But taking out corporal punishment without giving any measure or putting in place any measure that can be used to correct students when they go astray. Obviously, students may think that there's nothing a teacher or school authorities can do to him or her if he or she misbehaves.
Are you suggesting, Nana, that aside corporal punishment, there are no other forms of disciplining a student that will make the student conform?
That's not exactly what I'm saying, but personally, I have several ways of punishing my students when they misconduct themselves.
Even now?
Yes.
Okay. So you have a leeway.
Problems associated with some of these things. Look, sometimes as a means of helping them to write well, as a means of helping them to also construct good sentences and so on, when you misconduct yourself, what I would ask you to do is to write an apology letter in a book to occupy the entire book fully. You ask these students to buy a book and do that as a means of correcting them. And they go home, they'll tell their parents to buy an exercise book for them, and they'll tell you they don't have money. And now, the system we are running here, no teacher has the right to tell a student to spend even 1 cedi to do something. So as one of the measures that I use, look, you can't do it because it involves money. Buying an exercise book, you can't tell any teacher who is listening to this is aware. You can't tell a student to even buy a book in our schools today.
Nana, let me ask one more question, and I'll rope into the conversation, Peter Boateng. And my question to you, Nana, is this: you're lamenting, and you've touched on so many things, but in other schools, discipline is high. If you go to some of the schools in Accra, if you go to most of the schools in Cape Coast, discipline is high. Even here in the Ashanti region, we have some schools that has good discipline.